we have this thing that it's available to everybody. It's social media like Twitter, Facebook, things like that. And now we've got also a lot of streaming apps. I mean, you can go to Google Hangouts and hang out and stream yourself doing all kinds of things. But because we also have mobile devices, we can also stream live wherever we're at. There's an app called Periscope, which we've used here on the show to broadcast our staff meetings until my iPad decided to take a shit. It's I don't want to see the front camera anymore. You're just too ugly. But
Terminal diarrhea.
yeah,
Yeah.
it got tired of looking at my face apparently. So
Oh.
we use another one called Meerkat, but the story is not about that particular app. In this instance, it's the former app. It's the Periscope app. Because these apps are not regulated. I mean, really. I mean, you if they have guidelines that you're
Yeah.
not supposed to use, like put nudity on there, or like flash your breasts for women. Guys, it's okay. It's still okay for guys to show their nipples on stuff like that, but women, it's still verboten, and they don't want you showing your genitals and things like that. That aside, because we have this technology that we can stream everywhere, and the content is not always watched, things can happen that you don't expect, and you're not going to be able to erase from your own memory without some good counseling once in a while. Out in Paris, a young lady about 19 years old, she was talking about how depressed she was and things like that. And these people who didn't believe her, they were like egging her on. It's like, yeah, we don't believe you. It's always the worst of the worst. I mean, before Periscope came around, you get people up on top of buildings and you'd hear people shouting, jump, jump, jump. It's that same mentality. I don't understand what it is with people like this. They want to see people in their worst times and then see them terminate their own existence. And this, for some people, is a thrill. I don't understand that. I really don't. I don't subscribe to that mentality. I don't subscribe to that thought process at all. Kind of your thoughts.
This young woman, her name was Oceane. She had just recently broken up with a boyfriend that
Mm-hmm.
she'd had a very stormy relationship with.
Okay.
She had actually texted one of her mutual friends between her and her ex and told them that he had been abusing her and he had raped her. Her family was quoted as saying that she was very fragile and
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't really mentally very stable.
Mm.
And but she was on Periscope quite often. She had a kind of a following, which sometimes people do. They have a regular uploads to their channel, and she would be seen like smoking cigarettes or petting. She has cats, and she
Mm-hmm.
would talk about stuff. And she said, "I'm going to do." I guess she just said, "I'm going to do something today," and people were wondering what it was. And like you said, some people were just kind of curious, like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" But then there were some that were very, "Are you going to kill yourself?" "Oh, I can't wait for that."
Yeah.
Um, and her video, basically, it's her standing there at the local train station, and then all of a sudden the video goes black, and you can hear somebody in the background, one of the
We're,
porters, I think, saying, she's under the
yeah,
train.
she says, I'm under the train with the victim. I need to move the victim.
Yeah, exactly. And uh, I don't know, like you said, the looky-loos have always existed.
Yep.
People who slow down for accidents, or people who stand there when somebody's standing on a bridge or a building getting ready to threatening to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about human beings that they find this is something to goad on? I don't understand that. I mean, I can understand suicide more than I could understand
Yeah.
the people who goad.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's I don't know. And now there's talk of, well, how are we going to relegate? How are we going to monitor things like Periscope? We need to, because the guidelines are just guidelines. They're things you agree to, right?
Right.
But they're not in. There's how do you enforce them?
True.
And
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Drive to your house and arrest you? They can cut your access off, but that doesn't stop somebody from just making a new account in some cases. I mean, the thing with the
yeah,
Periscope app and the Meerkat app, for example, they tie it to like your phone number. So if you get on there with that or a particular device ID, then they can, they can block you from that. The real Paul Marshall said the circus is bred a part of the bread and circuses. Yeah, I agree that
Exactly.
it's been around for like forever. I mean, this mentality.
Well, an even more disturbing story than this one, and I'll just say it in short, is in Ohio. There was an 18-year-old who filmed her so-called friend, a 17-year-old girl, being raped by
Oh,
a
I heard
person
about
that
that.
they'd met. The yeah, just and now this 18-year-old is and the 29-year-old man are both being charged with the same things, and the 18-year-old's trying to say that it's not her fault.
Right. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
as I recall, she said that she was just filming it to to collect
record it,
evidence,
right?
and
But no,
I'm like, then
mm-mm.
you don't just record. You take your evidence of that's what you were going to do, and then you attempt to stop them.
Right, she
You
didn't
don't.
call 911.
Yeah.
She's giggling in the background. I guess this is the underbelly of having social media, and again, it's something that's always existed. It's just that we are so interconnected now that these stories have a way of touching us, and like you said, we have a way of seeing things on film that we might not have wanted to see
Yeah.
before. You have to be very careful what you click on these
True.
days, I think,
D-
and
d-
I hate that clicking on it might encourage it. I don't know. I
oh
worry
yeah.
about that.
Well, Dawkins Dog in the chat room said practically all they can have is a report button, and they trust the viewers to alert. But for suicide, there's nothing they can effectively do. And I agree. You can hit the report. It's like, yeah, this is not suitable content, but then it goes to a Python script basically, and it says,
Right.
okay, this thing's been reported. Why? I don't know. And it just you can give a list sometimes of like inappropriate content or whatever like that, and this kind of material is like it's like, okay, we'll just flag it for next time, and then we'll just keep off the air. There's no person on the other end going, why is this thing being reported? Now I do want to go back to the suicide for just a moment
Yes.
for this lady here. When one of the Periscope's users asked her if she was going to commit suicide, she answered, "No, I'm not going to kill myself." But then she added, "I have reached the point where nothing pleases me and nothing can make me want to get up in the morning." That's very sad. That's very
It
sad.
is.
You know, regarding suicide, I mean, I have mixed feelings on this. If you are healthy and you just, you had a bad breakup or whatever, and I can empathize with this situation, it's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Right.
For people who are having like medical issues, like this was found out like from Robin Williams that he had committed suicide. Everybody should remember this. But it turns out he had some kind of medical problem, and he was slowly deteriorating mentally, and he decided, basically, this is what's speculated, that he wanted to be in control of when he went out because he didn't want to like lose his mind totally, or it's maybe something he had
Yeah.
said, something like that. I don't remember if I remember him leaving a note or anything like that that said something along these lines. I apologize. My memories on that is a little sketchy. But in those instances where if you're having a problem, that's if you're going to die a painful death, if you try to stay alive, then I don't see a problem with it myself.
No, no. Well, and yeah, again, it's a huge question. I'm not going to try to add to it. I've seen a couple other stories today about suicide, about assisted death,
Yeah,
and one of them had to do with a girl in Sweden who had been abused from the time she was 5 to 15,
yeah.
physically by her parents, and she was just, I don't want to be judgmental, but she was a basket case,
Oh
and
yeah.
her doctors said that she's anorexic, she's agoraphobic. There's her quality of life is such that she's asked to euthanize herself, and
Oh
they felt
geez.
that it was okay. And uh, anyway, I don't know. I do understand, like you say, especially for people who have physical pain, and
Hmm.
quality of life is just a constant pain, or you have to be so medicated that you're not,
Yeah, that's not living at that point.
no, it's not.
That's not living
And
at that point.
yeah,
Then you're
and
just
it's
then you're just so
compassionate, isn't it, at that
yeah,
point?
yeah. It's
Yeah,
you're not alive at that point. You're not. Well,
right.
I shouldn't say you're not alive. You're alive, but you're just not living, and that's not that's no quality of life to have right there.
Right.